First of all, we'll look at some information which will give you an understanding of quantity data. So first of all, what are quantities? They are a type of database item, just as variables are a type of database item. They allow you to view numbers or amounts, i.e. quantities of things, rather than numbers or percentages of respondents or people. So for example, you may look at dollars spent, or glasses consumed, or number of holidays. There are a few things to note with quantities. When you're using quantities, you're actually applying a quantity to the whole table. At this point, your weighted count changes. The units represent a quantity count for the population. They no longer represent a population count. So therefore, the table is weighted to the sum of the applied quantity. For example, total dollars spent on last short trip. So while the weighted count refers to the quantity, it is now possible to view population weighted count and quantity weighted count by changing a setting, and we'll have a look at that in a moment. So this is an example of compilation of data. We have our regular types of questions: what sex, what state, do you work full-time, do you walk for exercise, and these would be your typical variables or groups within the database. When you have questions such as dollars spent on last holiday or how many glasses of beer did you consume last week, these types of items can be specified as quantities within the database. Looking at understanding the output now, with this table, this does not have a quantity applied. It's just a regular table. So the figures that you're looking at refer to population. We have an overall unweighted count and a projected population figure of weighted count. And then we have our AB quintile figures. So the UC, the WC, the V% all refer to population. And we can see that the AB quintile is 20% of the population. In this second table, we have a quantity applied. In this case, it's cost per person on last short trip. Therefore, the overall population figure has been replaced by an overall dollars figure, so the sum of the applied quantity. The unweighted count is still referring to actual respondent numbers, so that's people data. However, the weighted count for each row refers to total dollars spent on last short trip by respondents in each quintile group. Looking at the mean values now, the mean shows the average amount. For this example, dollars spent on last short trip. The average dollars spent per person in the AB quintile group for their last short trip was $181.33. Now looking at confidence limits. To allow for sampling error, the confidence limits, the CL figure, for the mean are displayed. It provides the range within which the mean might vary, and it signifies how reliable the data is. So we can say that 95% of the time, the mean value for the AB quintile is between $176.54 up to $186.12. So it's a plus or minus of $4.79. With the vertical percentage, it's a percentage of the total amount that each individual group has. So here in this example, we can say that 28%, or almost a third, of the total dollars spent on last short trip was spent by those in the AB quintile group. And here in this final example, we have a quantity where we're looking at total number of litres of alcoholic beverages consumed in the last 4 weeks, and we're looking at Ford owners specifically. So the unweighted count gives us the number of Ford owners within the sample. The weighted count refers to the quantity applied, so the number of litres of alcoholic beverages drunk by Ford owners in the population in the last 4 weeks. The mean, or the average litres drunk per Ford owner in the last 4 weeks, is 13.38. And of the total litres of alcoholic beverages consumed in the last 4 weeks, 39.7% of this was consumed by Ford owners. So now we're going to look at quantities in Asteroid. We can see that quantities exist in a database because the option appears as a tab in the data dictionary. At the bottom of the data dictionary, where you see all items, private and find, these additional tabs show you what additional information you have within the database. In this case, we have quantities. And here we have an example of a list of quantities. These are based on a tourism type database, and we can see that there are 4 types of questions: number of trips taken, nights away, cost per person, and value per person over 12 months. I mentioned earlier that it is now possible to view a people weighted count and a quantity weighted count, And it's in this screen, in Settings, Task or Global, and Show Numbers, that you can change this setting. We have a tick box which tells you that you can view both quantified and unquantified weighted counts when a quantity is applied. If you tick this box, you'll see a weighted count and a quantity weighted count. There is another setting worth remembering. When reading the mean values, be aware of these two possible settings. The default is all respondents, or you can specify respondents with quantity greater than 0. If you leave this setting on all respondents, this will include anybody who did not participate in the quantity that you have applied. If, however, you change to respondents with quantity greater than 0, this will filter the table so that it only includes those people who did participate in whatever quantity you have applied to the table. So, for example, if you had a quantity of glasses of alcohol consumed over the last 4 weeks, this will include only the people who have, and this will include those people who have and have not had alcohol in the past 4 weeks. And obviously this will affect how your mean value is calculated.